All right, so let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here for a second. Obviously, they made a number of moves this offseason to improve their roster, but there's a sort of underlying theme going on with Pittsburgh right now. Myles, I know you've got the story there.
Yeah, Nick. When Pittsburgh has a problem, they solve it. Check out the hook why the DJ revolves it. No, this isn't Vanilla Ice. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have been noted making moves that whenever there's a hole in the team, whenever there is a potential hole for the future, they fill it before it is needed. And that's the same case with linebacker Myles Jack from the Jacksonville Jaguars. It seems by all accounts that Pittsburgh has decided to move on from Devin Bush, not picking up his fifth-year option, so they need someone to come in the linebacker room and take over. And Pittsburgh decided to bring in Jacksonville Jaguar linebacker Myles Jack. Now, this is a little quote from the article from Steelers.com about why Jack decided to come to Pittsburgh, and I think this kind of is the overarching theme of what Pittsburgh is all about, okay? It says, Jack admits he heard about the Steelers' culture before signing with the team, and that was one of his biggest attractions to signing. It's the culture. That's what people always say, said Jack. But coming from where I came from, Jacksonville, of course, and then coming here, you see why the team is successful. They have a clear mission. There's no secrets. If there's a problem, it gets addressed right then and there. I feel like that's the only way you have to win, is everybody is held accountable, and I have enjoyed it. It has been great. So it seems like Jack is coming from two polar opposites, where there's a lot of confusion, a lot of not dealing with issues in Jacksonville, kicking the can down the road, all kinds of stuff that can lead to uncomfortableness, not willing to work as hard, just a real cluster, so to speak. But Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin always says, the standard is the standard. It is very clear what they want from you. What do you think about all of this, Nick?
Yeah, so we talk all the time about the three things you need to be successful in the NFL long term. You need to have a good quarterback, you need to have the right coach and right coaching staff, and you need to have a quality organization and a good culture. And the Pittsburgh Steelers just get A+ when it comes to the organization and culture. They've been this way for an extremely long time. I think we lose sight with how good their organization has been because of, frankly, they were side by side with the Patriots dynasty the past 2 decades. So I did a little digging, little research here to kind of back up a lot of how good and how strong that culture is and how much of a winning culture it is in Pittsburgh. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 18 straight non-losing seasons. So 18 straight seasons, 500 or better. So I went back and looked at other dynasties in NFL history. I started with the San Francisco 49ers, the Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, Steve Young teams, 16 straight seasons, right? That's 2 fewer than Pittsburgh's current run. You go back to the Steel Curtain of the 1970s with those Pittsburgh Steelers teams, one of the greatest teams in NFL history. They only had 12 years of 500 or better. How about the Raiders in the 60s and 70s with John Madden, right? Awesome years, Ken Stabler, all those guys. 16 straight, not up to the Pittsburgh Steelers current level. And then finally, I looked at Don Shula, the most winningest coach in NFL history with his Miami Dolphins. He only had 12 straight seasons or 500 or better. So what does all this mean? It means that when it comes to culture and establishing that winning standard, like you talked about, the Steelers have done just a phenomenal job, no matter who's the head coach, whether it's Cowher, whether it's Tomlin, whether they have Colbert as their GM and they bring in Khan. Like they have this consistent ability to create a strong culture. And you can tell when a guy like Jack comes in the room and recognizes it right away, that it's just deeply entwined in how they do things. And to be clear, I don't think we're picking on Jacksonville too much here. I'm a Cowboys fan. I know what bad culture looks like. We've had a lot of issues in Dallas with things like this. When I look at what the Steelers can do and bring in year in, year out, I think that's one of the examples in the NFL. And we see it in Jack's comments here.
Yeah, no, and I think Jacksonville is getting the ship righted, but they're doing that by following more culture-based like teams, like you said, the Patriots, like the Steelers, like in Baltimore, teams that value front office, like we've seen out of the Steelers a lot recently, and teams that have no nonsense in the coaching departments. Like obviously hiring Peterson for Jacksonville was a big move, but Tomlin has always been there. Like I said earlier, he always says the standard is the standard. He makes clear cut what you have to do, like what your job is, what he expects of you. And that's a big thing, I think, for football players to know, hey, listen, there's no underlying trickery. There's no nothing. This is what I want you to do. This is what you have to go out and accomplish. Clear your head of anything else. You don't have to worry about anything else. You go out there, play football, and if you do this, you're going to be good. You're going to be solid. So I think that helps out a lot. And I think probably in that Jacksonville front office and the organization as a whole, Myles Jack's probably like walking around on eggshells. He doesn't know what's going to happen. You bring in Urban Meyer as a coach. You know, he's pretty wild. You could get cut on a dime. Top to bottom, the last couple of years in Jacksonville had to have been tough for Myles Jack. But coming into a notably great defense in Pittsburgh, having a lot of guys to play around, you get to play around like T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward. You know, you get a ton of great talent on that defense, and there's a lot of history in, like you said, the Steel Curtain, one of the best defenses. You know, I feel like you got to have a sense of pride to come into that defense and want to play ball. So Myles Jack's probably pretty excited about all of this.
Yeah, and just one more point is another credit to the Steelers is they go after guys like Myles Jack who are looking for winning cultures, right? There's some guys in the NFL and they're very public. We know who they are. You know, look at Le'Veon Bell, former Pittsburgh Steeler. They're after the paycheck. They're after the money, right? The Steelers normally, and they do a great job of doing this, go after guys, especially veteran guys who are, you know, interested in winning, interested in the right culture, interested in fitting into the team concept. And that's another element too. It's once you establish the culture, you have to look for the guys that will fit in and be a positive part of that culture. And again, credit to the Steelers for finding a guy like Jack who seems to be more than willing to jump right in and contribute to that positive environment there in Pittsburgh.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.